The world of intralogistics is becoming increasingly complex every day, more challenging. Unimagined growth rates in intralogistics often push warehouse performance to its limits. In many sectors, 24/7 operation has become the norm. Efficiency in processes and excellence in technology are needed to master these demands day after day and to remain competitive. Jungheinrich automated guided vehicles offer the best foundation for this and achieve efficiency in motion.
Welcome to our AGVs 101, Starting Your Automation Journey webinar of Jungheinrich. Jungheinrich is well known for forklift trucks, but also for AGVs, ASRS, and automation solutions. MCJ Supply Chain Solutions is the North American automation joint venture. My name is Kai Beckhaus. I'm president of MCJ.
And I'm Tim Harrison. I'm the director of AGV sales of North America.
Starting your automation journey, what we want to cover today is to explain why you should automate, present AGV solutions. An important aspect is the integration of AGVs into your existing environment, the types of energy system, there is different considerations to take, and milestones for a successful implementation. Why automate? Tim, what would you suggest to our audience? What is the main reason to automate?
Well, Kai, the world is increasing the speed at which we automate. And that automation is impacting so many different areas of our lives in both the workplace and at home. And this adoption of automation is not just specific to one industry or one type of business or one vertical. It is spanning across industries, across categories, and it is impacting us both here domestically in the United States and globally. So as we have all been impacted over the past couple of years with the pandemic, a lot of businesses have been looking for new ways of increasing productivity, as well as dealing with these labor shortages that have been very impactful to everyone. Supply chain issues have been tremendous, and the only way to overcome these issues is really to provide automation at a much higher pace than in the past.
Tim, what are different areas where we see automation in besides our industry?
Well, Kai, we're seeing it in the automotive sector, in self-driving cars. We're seeing in the food service and restaurant business with, the way that we order our food and the way that our food is being prepared. And then we also are seeing this at home, from appliances that can be started right from a smartphone app to thermostats that make adjustments based on the temperature that's outside. And then it's also, automation is being adopted in manufacturing. And in so many different verticals in manufacturing, from pharmaceuticals to medical device, the adoption of automation is throughout. And then this automation is also being pressed over to warehousing and distribution. And in warehousing and distribution, automation hasn't been typically known, but now because of the major supply chain constraints we've seen over the past couple of years, these companies that exist in this world, in this space, they are looking for ways to automate to overcome those the challenges that they're seeing. In addition to the burdens that we've seen due to the past couple of years, basically from COVID and the pandemic, we've also seen general trends in the businesses, from labor shortages, where it's hard to find good people to pull into your workforce, to labor costs, the increasing cost of labor, as well as the benefits and the burdens of that labor. And then we have seen this ever increasing demand on supply chain optimization. All of our customers are wanting what they want when they want it, and now at a much even faster pace. So we have to keep up to meet those demands. And then there's also a factor of safety. With all this need to increase productivity, our workforces are being stressed and safety is being impacted. So we want to overcome that, and we can do all these things with automation. So Kai, what kind of AGV solutions exist out there?
What we have in our portfolio, Tim, is from left to right here, the Stacker model, which is the most versatile vehicle. It has regular forks, so it can handle all pallet types, floor, rack, conveyor applications. The second one is the Tugger, so a very typical example in an automotive environment where it is supply from a supermarket to a production line, and you pull a couple of carts that could either have special dunnages, special carts, or just a pallet on a cart to be transported. Then there is floor-to-floor low-level AGVs, transport AGVs, third vehicle type that's very common, more though in other parts of the world, for example, where the Euro pallets with two-way access is easier for these vehicles, but a very important vehicle for the high storage and when it comes to the warehousing environment is the fourth one we see here, the automatic turret truck in the very narrow aisle segment, where this fully automated truck can store pallets in rack in the most compact way that AGVs can do. With those, there is also the possibility to opt between a full automation and a semi-automation. So the full automation is most recommended when there is routine, repeatable tasks that are easy to automate then. When it's a horizontal transport, when it's stacking, even interfacing with racking, all of that is an indication for full automation. In the turret truck segment, a semi-automation with increased throughput is possible with warehouse navigation, utilizing RFID transponders in the floor and automating the approach to the location, but still requiring a human being to do the fine positioning and the load handling act at the end.
Kai, those are some pretty interesting solutions that we have there. What do we need to look out for when we're looking at AGV solutions?
Yeah, there is a good question, Tim. There is important selection criteria for every application. Despite automation being a general trend, there is still some environmental constraints that make application very suitable or not so suitable for automation in general. The considerations that we ask our clients to discuss with us are loads and units, first of all, because the load handling is an important part, pick up, drop off, so the load units that are transported are an important aspect. The volume, mainly that is required to really identify how many AGVs we need to cover the peaks of that throughput that is required. Temperature considerations, floor conditions, obviously an important aspect. Space requirements for the turn, there are safety norms that the automated technology has to fulfill, so we need to take a look at the layout. Number of shifts goes along with the throughputs to calculate the ROI and the labor content that would be done and saved. And also the integration part, we'll talk about that in a minute. A warehouse management system software to connect to identify what process integrations we have to do. In this video, we see a few of our applications in moving picture. Let's start with the towing application. You see the tow truck here with the laser safety systems. So when an obstacle is in the way, the truck stops, and once the path is clear, it continues. Our vehicles are the first with an automatic unhitch that we see here, and also hitch functionality to connect to those cars automatically. The pallet trucks that we see in this clip are for low-level transport, floor-to-floor goods. We see the laser scanners on top to identify where the trucks are, that navigation part. Transport, we see interaction to doors here, where we have control interfaces to all of the environment you have and can do lane stacking. The stacker truck coming up next is our EKS, the most versatile truck. It has regular forks it can pick up from the floor, from conveyors, from rack, has a very short aisle width requirement, and you see all of these automation functionalities really help with efficient processes from manufacturing, conveyor here, to warehousing, finished goods, warp supply, and so on. From the portfolio, finishing up with the very narrow aisle solutions, our automated turret trucks. We see a truck here with a bus power system, energy system. We see the speed that it traverses through the aisle, and it can here in this system be with automatic contour checks on the P&D, pickup and deposit stations, that allow us to fully automate the process and have multiple vehicles serve multiple aisles, so it's not as fixed as an ASRS solution, and gives you a lot of flexibility to scale the solution with additional trucks, have aisle change, and accommodate whatever throughput requirement there is with the best ratio on storage density in the warehouse area.
So that's great, Kai. We've got a lot of different solutions out there, but how do we integrate these AGVs into WMS systems and as part of a general solution for a client?
The integration is a very important aspect of the AGV project because the AGVs can be very efficient in running automation tasks, but just imagine if an operator would have to key in the orders. That is basically nonsense. So we need to automate all of that interfacing as well. And Jungheinrich has a logistics interface middleware, which is connecting all of the different trucks and machines and is selecting the right automation level for the application, has reliability for the AGV system on a solid and stable integration. And the Internet of Things is a very commonly used term. Some people call it middleware as well. A connected, alive system which interfaces between the proprietary structure that is in place and also warehouse management systems. We have connected to basically all warehouse management systems of a name that are out there and make the connection more important than ever and more efficient than ever possible with utilizing the logistics interface. The integration follows a scheme, you could say a little house here. So the top level is the enterprise resource planning systems, which control what goods are in a warehouse. The next level, the process level of warehouse management, is controlling what pallet actions are being done and what transports are being done, all of those transport orders. Then our logistics interface on the middleware level connects that level to the hardware and translates all of those machine languages, starting with an animation. And we can say this connection we can really see as filling a void. The trucks and the warehouse management system would not speak the same language. So this additional level of gear coming in, logistics interface to connect and translate between those two systems.
Okay, Kai, so it looks like the logistics interface is combining some systems and providing the missing link there. But what exactly are we connecting here?
The two functions that the logistics interface does as a high level is, on the one hand, the IoT connector. It really allows the connection from the language, from the technical data transmission. People of our customers would be involved here to discuss whether it is a database connection or whatever technical data way and format they would like to send the data to the Jungheinrich automation. The second part that we see on the right-hand side is the process manager. And process management, to give you a very easy and simple example, is, let's say the warehouse management system would have the most specific command as a transport from A to B. The AGV system can only understand a pickup from A and then drop this pallet at B. So that is the easiest example of process management, of taking this WMS command from A to B and splitting it into two separate ones. There can be way more complex processes that the logistics interface handles, from quarantine times to an extra staging step, and that can be very customer specific. It is a standard framework which is tailor-made and customized for every application to give the maximum automation, rather than just having a standalone automation that had to be teached in and dropped off. This is really there to customize our clients' warehouse automation in the best way to automate the full process from end to end. We have seen the integration, Tim. So what is another important aspect is the energy system, how the whole thing is powered. So what do we have to offer in this regard?
Yeah, so Kai, we have a couple different options here. And like you said, energy systems, they're very important. They're a critical component to the AGV systems. And our systems can operate off of a lead acid battery system or a lithium ion battery system. Both have their pros, and the thing to keep in mind is that we offer both the ability to swap out batteries, whether they're lead acid or lithium ion, or we provide the opportunity for automatic charging, which is a great way to utilize your AGVs most effectively. With the automated charging, the system will, at its first opportunity, go and dock itself and charge. The lithium-ion batteries are much more capable in this respect because lithium-ion batteries do not require a full charge cycle, and so you can basically utilize the short periods of time when the equipment's not being used versus a lead acid battery, which would require hours of charging time. And as you can see in this short clip here, here's an AGV that's docking up to a battery charging station. And these systems are very space efficient and safe, so you can utilize them throughout your facility where it makes the most sense.
We have seen the capabilities from the integration and energy perspective besides the portfolio, Tim. So what are the project phases that potential clients look at installing an automation in their warehouse?
Well, Kai, why don't we look at a short little clip here that talks right to that point.
Automation with automated guided vehicles from Jungheinrich is divided into 6 successive project phases in which we accompany you step by step. 1. Proposal phase. In the proposal phase, we therefore look at everything, from the current processes and conditions to the IT interfaces. We compare this with your needs and create an offer tailored to you. 2. Definition phase. Now the processes are defined in a requirements specification. This forms the basis for all technical and scheduling processes of your project. A real-time simulation can now begin. 3. Preparation for implementation. While production of the automated guided vehicles begins at Jungheinrich, the software and the environment are prepared at your site. One major advantage is that there is no need for reconstruction in your warehouse. 4. On-site system implementation. And now we're off. First, the vehicles are tested on site, then personally integrated into the system by our team. Fine-tuning ensures smooth processes. 5. Startup assistance. For the start of your new automated system, we are on site, accompanying your employees, allaying any fears, and conducting training on the job for smooth transition to productive operation and for efficiency in motion. 6. Maintenance and support. With our service network, unique in the industry, with more than 4,500 service engineers and our 24/7 support hotline, we are always there for you, even after the handover. You too can successfully automate your intralogistics with an experienced partner. With automated guided vehicles from Jungheinrich.
So as you see in the video, there are a lot of different phases to an AGV project, but we can break these down in a more practical sense with this outline shown here. So first off, we start off with a bit of a site review and data gathering. We come out and visit with your site with our distribution partners and determine whether your application is a good fit or not, and maybe even provide some new ideas for how you can utilize AGV solutions in your facility. After you've made a decision, you would place your order, and that kicks off a lot of different tasks that will happen in the on the back end that you might not be privy to, but they, nonetheless, the actions are occurring, such as order placement with the factory, software systems being scheduled, etc. We will traditionally, after order placement, have a project kickoff meeting, and in that meeting, we will outline the timeline of the project and let you know what you should expect from us, and also we would discuss with you what we would expect from you as our client to ensure a very successful implementation. Then, in a matter of weeks, we will see the delivery of these AGVs to your site, and once these AGVs are delivered to your site, we will begin the on-site software and hardware implementation. And this will generally last several weeks to a couple of months, depending on the scope of your project and the level of complexity. And then once we have everything finished up, we have the AGVs operating properly, we have met the deliverables of the project, then we turn this project, the system over to you and allow you to start gaining actual use from the system and seeing the return on your investment. So speaking of starting to see a return on your investment, as part of the site review and data gathering visit, we will also want to talk with you about calculating an ROI. That's a very big component of getting the funding for these projects. So with our experience, we can provide guidance on what we typically see in the industry. So for example, purchasing a traditional forklift and then the labor costs associated with it, you would see a 5-year cost, a baseline total cost of ownership of approximately $243,000. which is significantly higher than an AGV system. So in that next phase of the project, you're going to look at, ordering a system. And there are some key things that you need to keep in mind when you are selecting your vendor and even your solution of choice.
The first one is to look at, is it a standard or a customized product that you are choosing? Especially from the hardware side, if you have manufacture of a forklift truck as a base for the AGV, you benefit from the high volume production, which also goes along with the models that are used for the base truck, and then customizations being applied to that, giving you the benefits and cost efficiencies of production at scale.
Yep. And then also your energy solutions. What options exist there? Is it lead acid? Is it lithium ion? It's important to note what are those differences with respect to your solution.
We have discussed the IT integration earlier on, a very important aspect in the vendor selection process. You do not want to be left alone at the end coordinating between your systems, the AGV system, and then potentially working with a completely separate IT vendor, systems integrator, to have those communicate to each other. Make sure to pay sufficient attention to the IT setup and how your automation, your new automatic system is linking to your existing environment.
And also with respect to energy systems, how efficient are they? Can you run your AGV on one charge over 2 shifts? And that's really important because there is this push for sustainability and having a green image. So keep this in mind when you're selecting your solutions, which solution would be most appropriate for your business.
No matter how well a system is designed, there might be issues coming down the way when there is a change in the environment, when there is smaller hiccups. So it is very important to align your service level agreements with the number of shifts you have in operation. So if you have a 24/7 around the clock operation, make sure to avoid times in unproductive call centers where someone is just taking a call, but on the next workday an engineer is starting to resolve it. Make sure to clearly outline what is your service and support estimate and expectation to the vendor already when doing the vendor selection.
Yeah, and in addition to your software support, we all understand that things break, and is so critical to maintaining the maximum uptime to have a service network and parts availability to support your needs. And with any solution, you should look for who has a distribution channel that can really support you, whether it's standard business hours or after hours, as well as how long does it take to get that spare part when you need it most.
Those points that Tim and I have covered on this slide are really what we cover in every client project and guide that discussion. If you keep those in mind, you will make an informed decision and be on your route to a very good automation selection, vendor selection, and a successful project implementation.
So we've covered why we should automate. We've also discussed the different AGV solutions. We've talked about how to integrate these AGV solutions into your processes from a software standpoint. And we've discussed some different energy systems, the lead acid versus lithium ion battery, as well as brought up the main phases of a project and how important they are to the successful implementation of your AGV system.
You see our email addresses here on the screen. We would be happy to reach out and support you in the early phases or the selection process of your automatic warehouse with the solutions we have shown. We also have provided you with our URL to deep dive into the portfolio, as well as a video which explains really well the different phases and the technology that is around automation. With this MHI webinar landing page on our mcj.team site as the Jungheinrich joint venture, we provide you a contact form and would be really glad if you stayed in touch and reach out to us to discuss your demand.
And thanks everyone for being a part of this webinar, and look forward to working with you on your next AGV project.